Today we're diving into the 5 pillars of Islam, but we're going to look at them through a different lens. Not as a checklist of rules, but as this interconnected spiritual journey. A path that's really designed to lead you inward to the heart.
Can I be honest? From the outside, a lot of religious practices can seem, well, intimidating. They can look like just a long list of complicated rituals, and it's so easy to feel like you're missing the real point. But that feeling, that curiosity, that desire to get the why behind the what, that's exactly where we're going to start.
So here's the big idea for our whole discussion. These 5 pillars are not meant to be rigid, static obligations. Think of them more like a path, a guide that's designed to take us on a journey inward, to the heart.
And, every journey has to have a starting point. For this one, it's the absolute foundation of everything. It's the declaration of faith, or what's known as the Shahada.
The Shahada is this simple yet incredibly powerful testimony. It's the words you say to enter the faith, a declaration that there's a single creator and that Muhammad is his messenger. This is literally the seed that everything else grows from. But here's where the thinking really shifts. The Shahada isn't something you just say once and you're done. No way. It's meant to become the constant center of your life, a daily, even an hourly reminder that just kind of pulls you back, reorients your perspective, and anchors everything you do.
Okay, so from that constant internal center, the journey starts to build outward into our daily lives. And that brings us to the second pillar, which really acts like a spiritual reset button, the prayer, or Salah.
Now, Salah is often the most visible part of the faith, and maybe the most daunting. 5 daily prayers, specific movements, exact timings. It's totally understandable why it might feel like a lot.
But this is so crucial. Getting the movements perfect isn't the ultimate goal. The connection is. The real purpose of Salah is to build and maintain this direct, personal line to the divine.
A really powerful way to think about Salah is not as 5 interruptions to your day, but as 5 scheduled spiritual resets for your day. You've got this built-in opportunity to just pause the chaos of life, reconnect with your purpose, and recenter yourself on what actually matters.
So from that personal connection, the journey then expands outward again, this time into our community. And that brings us to the third integral, this idea of purifying our wealth and our spirit through generosity, which is known as Zakat.
A lot of people hear Zakat and they think, oh, right, that's the annual charity, the 2.5%. And yeah, technically that's correct, but that definition just barely scratches the surface. There's something much deeper going on here.
The real heart of Zakat is right there in the name. It's all about purification. It's this understanding that the wealth we have is basically a trust, and by sharing a little bit of it with people who need it, we're actually cleansing what's left over, purifying our own souls from things like greed, and making the whole community stronger. It completely transforms giving from just a transaction into a really profound spiritual act.
Then, the journey turns inward again, this time focusing on a practice of internal discipline and empathy. And this is the fourth integral, Sawm, the fast of Ramadan.
And let's just be real about it. The first thing that pops into most people's heads is, wow, fasting is hard. And it is. Not eating or drinking from sunrise to sunset for a whole month, that's absolutely a huge physical and mental challenge.
But here's the thing, the hardship itself isn't the point. The challenge is actually the tool. Ramadan is designed to be this month-long training ground for building spiritual muscle, for developing this deep empathy for people who are hungry every day, and for just cultivating this intense gratitude for the blessings we so often take for granted.
And all of this brings us to the 5th and final integral, a practice that pretty much synthesizes all the others into one incredibly powerful, culminating experience, the journey of a lifetime, the Hajj.
If you've ever seen pictures of the Hajj, those millions of people all moving together around the Kaaba, you can just feel the emotion. It's so obvious that this is way more than just a religious trip.
At its absolute core, Hajj is a physical manifestation of unity. By stripping away every single sign of wealth, status, or nationality, everyone dressed in those simple white cloths, it becomes this profound reminder that we are all completely equal. It's a journey that ends with you standing shoulder to shoulder with people from every corner of the planet, all focused on one single purpose. So, we've got declaration, connection, purification, discipline, and unity. But these aren't just 5 separate pillars standing on their own. There's this spiritual core that connects and breathes life into every single one of them. And that's really the key question, isn't it? What's the spiritual engine that's driving all of these actions? What's the thing that turns them from just physical movements and words into something deeply, deeply meaningful?
The answer is Iman. Iman is that deep, trusting faith that lives in the heart. It's not just a belief, it's a profound trust. Iman is the why behind the what. It's the faith that fuels your declaration. It's what gives purpose to your prayer, motivates your charity, gives you strength in your fast, and calls you to make that pilgrimage.
And right here you can see how it all clicks together. Each pillar is like a support structure, actively holding up and strengthening your Iman. They aren't just steps you complete and then move on from. They're an integrated system. The daily connection of Salah reinforces the foundation of Shahada, and the discipline you learn in Sawm deepens the generosity of Zakat. They all work together in perfect harmony.
So, at the end of the day, the big takeaway here is really about this shift in perspective. It's about moving away from seeing these integrals as some kind of external checklist of static rules, and instead seeing them as a guide, a dynamic journey driven by an internal motivation that helps us lead lives full of purpose and connection.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to take with you. Whether you practice this faith or you're simply trying to understand it better, the question is still the same. How can these principles, declaration, connection, purification, discipline, and unity, become part of a meaningful journey for you?